Hello, everyone, and hello, Moon. Thank you for joining me on this session. So, we're going to do a little exercise just to demonstrate some of the things we'll be doing at I-Astrologer in Tucson during our event in October. This event is basically the best platform for anyone who would like to become a professional astrologer, or someone who is like you already practicing and teaching but needs an extra push or inspiration to take your practice to the next level. And we all want to grow, we all have new things to learn about, and so our faculty is really comprised of very, very gifted people in each of these different fields. And what we're going to work on today is look at your website, because that's one of our topics for I-Astrologer. Is not just to build a website, but it's to build a good website, because a website is your business card today. It's basically showing your credibility and it will basically tell if the client will sign up or not, if it's a new client. Those who already know you maybe won't need that, but those who are looking for an astrologer will definitely pay a lot of attention to your website. So once again, I-Astrologer is going to take place in Tucson, October 4th to 7th for the part one that we're talking about now. And we seriously invite you to look into it. Go to the OPA website, opaastrology.org, and find out about the program. And now what I want to do is, is basically use Moon's website. Here it is. And show, the great things about it, and then the things that may need some work to fine-tuning. And I want to ask you, Moon, how did it start? When did you think about building a website? Why did you do it? And how long did it take? And then what was your budget, if you don't mind sharing?
Oh, yeah. So I had a website that I decided to redo my website because of my newfound interest in working with death charts. And I know somebody who is a person who does marketing and also builds websites for people. And during one of our conversations, she said, oh, you should have a special page devoted to the idea of casting a death chart, because nobody knows what they are. And I agreed with her. Also, I'm planning to publish a book soon, and she said we could set it up so people would sign up in advance to buy the book, or use it as a marketing tool for the book. So between when we started actually the conversation and we got to the time that the site was launched was probably 2 months. And it's fast.
Yeah, that's very efficient.
Right, and everything was done remotely. So, I sent copy and they sent images, and we went back and forth without me having to go anywhere. And
so was this a friend? Or?
No, but this is a business. This is somebody who comes to me for readings and somebody who I go to that helps me with marketing.
So, but it was someone you already trusted, someone
Correct.
you
Correct.
was not just going to the yellow pages and picking.
No, I would never do. I would never do that, nor would I recommend that.
Okay.
So the banner that you have up right now was already done. That was part of my previous website.
Okay.
And that was also through somebody I knew as a client, and she hired an artist to do this, what I think is really very, very pretty kind of background.
Yeah.
So the site costs $3,500.
Okay.
And that includes hosting for the first year. It includes all kinds of things that I don't understand that they said were like necessary regulations. I had to pay the SSC or,
Yeah.
different kinds of web people.
And they update it for you, or do they teach you to update it?
Well, so I'm meeting with somebody on Wednesday who's going to teach me how to do it. So now I can't get into this like the one I had before. I could go and do blogs and do mailings and stuff, but I'm going to learn. This is WordPress, which I think is really familiar to a lot of people, but I've never used WordPress before. So apparently WordPress has endless videos about how to use it, but I'm going to have one session. So as part of that fee that I paid them, I have 2 sessions in person, and one is to learn all about WordPress, and the other is MailChimp. They're going to teach me all about MailChimp.
Great. So that's very interesting and important to our purposes, because I think that's something that many astrologers either already do and can improve or need to learn to do. A good website, and then knowing how to update it, because we have new content and, like you said, blogs and so on, and we can't constantly rely on on the web designer to do all that work. First of all, it's costly, and second, they're not always as quick as we would like them to be. And so usually what I do is for bigger things, if I really need to change something substantial, so I can hire someone or my web designer to do it. But if it's just changing dates or announcing a new workshop, that's something I should be able to do myself. So what I want to say is I totally agree with you that the website looks very inviting. The color, the logo, it's true. It brings your perspective, astrology and moon rabbit, but it's also, we see astrology, we see the stars. So it's a logo that works well and describes very simply what you're doing. And it's a good introduction. The other thing I want to mention is actually the many people are struggling to find a domain name. How are you going to call your website? So I think that you named it Astrology by Moon Rabbit. I think it's a good suggestion because it has your name and it has astrology. So it's both personal and it shows what it's about. Some people do only their name, which is fine as well, or people do only an astrology name like cosmic patterns or harmonic astrology or whatnot. So they have a concept that becomes their domain name, and that is a little tricky because unless you really have a concept that's defined and you know exactly what it is, it can be confusing. So I like the fact that you use your personal name. That's what I wanted to say. So one thing to me, when I enter and I don't know yet who you are. I mean, I may have heard about you, someone may have recommended your services, and I want to check you out. And I go to your website and I see it's bright, it's accessible, it's clear, and the menu is simple. The one thing I start to read is the subtitle, and I see, do you need help understanding the patterns of your life in your life? Do you see cycles repeating but feel powerless to make changes? Here you have a typo, to make a change or to make changes, right?
Okay, that's good to know.
An appointment with an experienced astrologer can help. that's it. You know, I like these catchphrases, but you have to be a bit careful because your introduction here is narrow. Let's say I want an appointment because I want to start a new business. So I don't need help understanding the patterns of my life, and I don't see cycles repeating. And so I read that, I say, is she really for me?
And Maurice, so, you know, if you scroll down like 3 inches, there's a little paragraph that says whether you're struggling with your children or spouse, making an important decision, thinking about a job change, starting a new relationship, buying or selling property, blah, blah, blah. So it's not the first thing that somebody says, but if they go to see the picture and read a little bit, all those things are covered a little bit further down.
Well,
And so
to
you feel
me,
like it has to be like the first thing that people see, or you lose clients that way.
that's my point is that the first sentence needs to be more general and more inviting. It's already very specific. You start with something very specific. I would use that introduction in your later text. If people want to know more, then you get into the cycles and you get into the patterns. But I would begin, you know, I see astrology and I'm not a student of astrology, so I'm not very familiar with what it can do. I would start with a sentence like, astrology provides clarity in all aspects of your life. It can be personal, professional, um, and whatever your question is, we can use the chart to guide you. There you go. You know, you have a very simple slogan that is very broad and opens. It's inviting and it's not too psychological, and yet it describes the fact that you can help this person. Then in your subtext, you know, as you scroll down, you can provide more details. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But what about wanting to be unique? So let's say they've scrolled through 10 astrologers, and all of the astrologers basically say, look, whatever it is, I can help you. Don't you want to have something in those first couple statements that separates you from everybody else?
Yes, and yet to do that in a way that doesn't put you in a box. Because what makes you unique? Tell me, what is your unique quality that you want to sell that will be attractive?
Well, I think it's that I'm really, really good at seeing patterns and using the knowledge of the patterns and the cycles people are going through to help them find more freedom in their lives.
Well, I think that is something you can elaborate on a little later. I think it's a little too, it's my
Specific.
personal,
It's too specific.
it's too specific and it's too almost thick for an entry point.
Gotcha.
You can be unique, you know, in showing first of all confidence, and in the structure of your website, in the design, it shows already who you are, and you can say, you know, the reason the way I work is by really identifying these patterns in your life and providing the clarity that you need. So be careful that this unique aspect of you elevates you, doesn't box you. Um, Now, what I also would suggest, after having read a little bit, ahead of time, is to try to turn things more positive. Because people, on the one hand, they want to learn about themselves, they want to find solutions, and they know life is challenging. But you need to, in your word, in your language, in your communication, try to start more positive. Because if you start, even your subtext with, we all know that life can be confusing and hard, things can go wrong and swirl out of control, that's your opening statement. That's something that can be a little daunting and depressing to start with. um, if you start with something difficult, immediately, I would begin, for example, with your second sentence. On the other hand, life can be wonderful, amazing, and even brilliant. I would start with that. Are you interested in tapping into your higher potential and make your life work for you? Then you say, we all know life can be hard and difficult, da 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 da.
Okay.
Start positive.
Okay, I think that's a good suggestion. And I'll tell you the reason that I started the way I did is that probably 90% of the people who come to see me come because they're having a problem.
I agree with you. But the fact that they're coming, we all do that kind of work, and we all know that if they come for a reading, it's not because everything's perfect.
Right.
But at the same time, they want to feel empowered.
Yep.
And so begin and end positive.
Okay.
Your
Got it.
first sentence and your last sentence. In the middle, you can go deep and you can bring, the intensity. Now, many people dismiss astrology because they don't understand it. Yes, astrology. So again, begin positive. Astrology is the study to find meaning in cosmic pattern. Then you say some people may dismiss it because
Got
they
it.
don't understand it.
Got it. Yep. Okay.
And
So you
so
want
your
to,
last sentence, your last quote, astrology clarifies our place. That's great because that's broad and it's true and it's inspiring. So that's a good ending. And your picture is great. The photo, the color of your shirt matches the color of the website. And the testimonial there at the end is great as well. Then go to service. Who I am, natal chart, death chart, classes. Uh, I would begin with what exactly happens during an astrology session, rather than what makes you passionate about it. What makes you passionate should be in your bio, not in the service page.
okay.
Because it's about you. Here they come for a service. They're not interested in what makes you passionate.
Yeah. Okay.
I would also, let me see who I am. Okay, it takes me. Working together in 1 to 5 sessions can explore the potential you bring to your life, the horoscope, most productive that we inherited birth. Okay, good. And so I click, I see the price, 1 hour. So it's nice, it's modern,
Right, this is an upgrade from the visuals I had before, so I really like it.
So why do I get again to this page once I click on it?
What did you click on? Did you click on one of the...
I clicked on the service on the natal chart.
And then that takes you to book an appointment.
It takes me to an explanation. Astrology clarifies our space, and then below that to the appointment. You know, I've already read what astrology does. I'm ready to book.
Okay.
So all this is not necessary, or it should be at the bottom.
Okay.
I should get straight to the booking.
And do you think also, Maurice, where it says if you're a new client, be sure and fill out the new client section, that should be at the bottom too?
Where is that?
So, okay, let's see here.
So I see, you know, I'm just continuing the link chain, and I see that I'm able to book an appointment. So I select the time. That's great.
Yeah,
New
that's
information.
Acuity. So that's just like one of those scheduling kind of services you pay for.
Yeah. Okay, great. So now, you know, I can see that I won't fill it up because I don't want to take someone's place here. But that's great. That's very effective, and that's very clear. I would just remove that introduction
Okay.
as mentioned.
So even the date of birth, place of birth, time of birth, you think because they have that in the form that they have to fill out, that it's just duplicating it? The only thing that's on here that isn't on the form where you fill out is where you can get an accurate birth time. Or is it? Let me look. So then let's see. Oh, no, it's on here. Okay, so it's on that page. So, okay, good.
Okay, great. So now I want to go to your classes, and that's both in your services and in the Learn menu. So why study astrology? In 1980, too much verbiage to my opinion.
So let me tell you something, and you can have a different opinion, but so, you know, my marketing person that I was working with said, basically asked me these questions to put up here because she said people are going to want to read about you, they're going to want to get to know you, they're going to want to like see how you're different from other people and why they should study with you.
Yeah.
So that's why there's so much information, because I didn't have this on my other sites.
Well, to me, it has to be done effectively. First of all, those who want to study with you, I will say, I will not begin with, in 1980, I rented a small upstairs office, because I don't want now to get into your personal story. That's again in your bio. There's a whole section for that. What I would see here is I have 20 years or 30 years or 50 years of experience. I have taught, you know, in these and that. You basically present your credential, and the fact that you can run classes and what do people gain from these classes. So I would focus on the point. What are you offering and who you are and why they should study with you, rather than get into the story of how you got into it. Because it's not just a line, it's a, you know, it's 2-3 paragraphs that go through your story. I would just start with where you're at today. not
Okay.
where you're at when you started.
Okay.
And that immediately, you know, oh, that person, I want to study with her because she is in the business for so long. She's been doing this, you know, she has classes. So there's testimonial. You can put here also a picture. I would put a picture of a classroom, you know, with you and your students, um, to illustrate a little bit of that kind of environment. And then already list, you know, next class in the fall or that date. Provide the structure of your class. It's a 6-week class or it's a 1-year class. Already provide the framework here. Make it more direct and practical. And then, you know, at the bottom, the class notifications and updates. Does that make sense?
So, so if you scroll down a little bit more, Maurice, it has a bunch of classes listed, right? So
Yeah.
here's all the listing of the classes. And basically you're saying that sign up for class notifications should come at the bottom of that.
No, first, what I would do is, just like you did with the services, what did you do with the services? You had a menu of all the services on the top, and then you went into
Got
the
it.
testimonial.
All right.
So the same thing with the learn. You know, I would have here a menu of all the different classes so
Okay.
people can directly see
Yes.
what's
Okay.
going on and what you offer, and then they can scroll down.
Okay.
And I would also, you know, in your titles, apprenticeship class, um, is that a beginner's class?
No.
What is it? Because you see, I don't completely understand
Yeah.
from your text what it
Okay. Right.
is.
Right. So it should be set, the title should be more clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then life cycle for intermediate and advanced. You should have that already, you know, in purple as a subtitle.
And I'm thinking now that you're saying that, I could actually break it into beginning, intermediate, and
Yeah,
advanced,
exactly.
and
Exactly.
then that would take care of that.
I
So
think
in the
so.
menu. Okay, that's good. I think that's really helpful.
And then, you know, another thing is the way you describe your classes, keep the formatting the same. For example, in some of them you put the price at the beginning, in some of them you put the price at the end.
Yeah.
You know, kind of keep the same format. And
Okay.
I would also bold, you know, important information like fees and limit to 6 students and dates. You know, all kind of practical information in lists and bold.
Okay.
Okay. And then shop.
Yeah, that's still undeveloped because in some ways that page is more, it's for booking
Going,
appointments, but it's good. When the book comes, then we're going to redo that.
okay. And your blogs. Great. You can also, you know, you can you can call it blog or articles.
Do you think it makes a difference what it's called?
I think that articles is a little different. You know, blog is more like you're sharing your personal story, whether an article, you know, the Portland Queer Astrology is more of a blog,
Yeah.
whereas the death chart story may be more of an article. But, you know, it's not a big deal. I think article can be more professional in some ways.
Right. Right.
And you can actually, you know, also post your post from the Career Astrologer here. You have a couple of articles in there. Then contact information. And the appointments are online, correct?
Yes. Oh, what do you mean by that? People come to my office.
So if I want a reading, can I do it over the phone or online,
yes.
or do I need?
Yeah. So there was a place, I think when you go in to make an appointment and you schedule.
This needs to be clear in your astrology services.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
That you can, in that first page,
it says it,
appointments.
yes, it says it, Maurice, but it's in with all that other text that you said you don't need, because it says, please specify if you prefer in-person, Skype, or phone session.
I would add here, above this list, I would add in person or online.
So above the menu of services?
I would do in person or online appointments, so that people know right away that it's worth looking at all this.
And when you say online appointments, you mean Skype?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like what we're doing now.
Right.
And then you can go into the details in your little paragraph, you know, headlines, in-person appointments or online appointments, and explain how it works.
Okay.
Now, there's one thing that is, you know, is a little tricky. Endorsements. Discover death charts in your menu. We all know why, you know, you build a website and that's your work. And that's the book that's coming. But you have to understand that this scares the hell out of people just to read that headline.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because someone that doesn't know what you're talking about, you know what they think that is? That you're going to tell them when they're going
to die. Yes. Okay.
And they're not going to want to book with you.
Right.
So you have to camouflage that, or you have to, you know, it's too scorpionic for a first impression.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't mind it. As a Scorpio, I would go there first. But 11/12 of your clients won't. So what I would name this would be forthcoming books or Moon's research. And then when they click on that, they go and you can say, you know, Moon has done extensive work on the meaning of the death chart. Rephrase it so that they know that it's not about predicting death.
Right. Right.
even, because, when I click on that and I see resolving the loss of a loved one is one of the most difficult things, that's something that can be appealing because we all go through that and we all experience grief. And then I understand that it's not about my death.
Right.
So that needs to be at the top.
Okay.
And because Discover Death Chart is a misleading title. That's my opinion.
No, I agree with you, and I know it wouldn't scare me away, but I didn't really think that it would scare other people away. But I do know that people have the mistaken notion that a death chart is about their death.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that certainly has happened.
And so I would, first of all, not include this as a main menu. I would, label this your Moon's Research, because you'll write other books. And and if people Google death charts, because it is on that page, they will get to your website. But I would do it as a, as a second step, like getting there as a second step.
Okay.
And then, you'll have here the the explanation. Or you can even have, that title, What is a Death Chart, a horoscope constructed for the death, place, and time of a loved one. That I would put at the top.
At the top, okay.
Because I'm intrigued and I'm scared, and that clarifies it.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that going right up above the first graphic.
Yeah.
And maybe even that whole thing should be first.
Yeah, agreed. So, these are simple ideas, but important ideas that can make a difference when someone surfs your website. The other thing I was looking at is I looked on the phone to see if your website is responsive.
Right.
And that means that it adapts to different formats, because that's the technology today. People have iPads and iPhones and big screens and small screens, and the website needs to work on all these different screens. So I see that it is adapted, I know, and so that's the value of sometimes working with professionals, is that they will take care of that. And it looks good, on the phone as well. It's very clear. It's not too small. So that works.
Yeah.
So was this helpful?
This was very helpful, Maurice. Very, very helpful. And, the designer can't give me feedback about the astrological part of it. Mm-hmm. So, do you know what I mean? So I've been working really closely with the person, but they're interested in the visual appeal as opposed to the idea that somebody's saying, reading Discover Death Charts, that's going to be frightening to them. Or, do you know what I'm saying? So that, yeah, everything you said, I think, has been really, really useful. And creating greater clarity about the classes, I really like that. So, yeah, I wrote a lot of things down, and I made an audio recording so I can go back and write all this stuff down, and then I can start moving things around.
Well, we'll upload this video so you can also go back to it.
Okay.
And that's what I want to highlight, that we're going to do at I-Astrologer. This is with the website, with your branding, with your pictures, how to market. The website is one component in a series of other important devices and tools to enhance your practice.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that event and hope many of you will attend, and because it makes a difference.
Okay, thank you, Maurice.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.